Okay, people, the moment we all been waiting for. After years in the making, Regular Show has finally returned with Regular Show The Lost Tapes. And before I get into the actual episode, giving my thoughts on what happened in the episode and such, I want to address a few things. So, for those of you who don't know, because I didn't, Regular Show The Lost Tapes will not be coming to streaming services until June. So, at the point of this video, that's about a month from now. So, in order to watch Regular Show The Lost Tapes, you have to tune into Cartoon Network each day for the episode's release, and I think they're splitting it in between different sections. So it is a bit confusing, but as of right now, you have to tune in each day that it's airing on Cartoon Network if you want to watch the newest episode, and then wait till later on during the year of 2026 to get all the episodes streaming on streaming platforms. I believe HBO Max is going to be the platform that Regular Show The Lost Tapes airs on, and then Hulu. So from you can hear it, from what I'm telling you, you can hear that it's going to be like a confusing release schedule, and overall just like, I'm kind of baffled by the choice here when it comes to The Lost Tapes' release schedule and the platforms and such, whatever, but as of right now, you can only watch it on Cartoon Network, and there will be 40 episodes for this first season, so you have that to look forward to, whether you watch it on Cartoon Network as it airs, or if you wait till it all comes on streaming services. Again, going back to the whole release schedule thing, I think the first 10 episodes will come out in June of 2026, and then later on during the year, they'll release the rest of the 30 episodes, So, whatever, device or platform you choose to watch the show on, you have multiple different options. Some you might have to wait for. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video, and that's the actual episode. This 30-minute special of Regular Show The Lost Tapes. I really believe that overall this special captured what Regular Show was, and still is obviously to this day. The sense of humor, the antics of Mordecai and Rigby, doing something simple or seemingly simple that turns out to be this catastrophic event that affects everyone in their lives, everyone at the park, and them driving Benson crazy, and these shenanigans was all there. But I also want to talk about the beginning of the episode where they led into what actually happened in the second half of this special, and that's like going to heaven and seeing Pops just living his life in heaven, in the clouds. And it was actually, and another thing I want to say about this episode, now that I'm thinking about it, is I really felt there was a lot of adult jokes, even more so than usual Regular Show episodes. And you guys can leave in the comments and tell me how you felt. Did you feel like there were more, innuendos in this episode than there were in like the original Regular Show series? I mean, I felt that way. There was a few different moments where that's that's obviously a joke that adults are supposed to get, and that makes sense to me if that's the route they're taking, because Regular Show is one of those golden age Cartoon Network shows. So people like me that watched it back then were kids, and now we're older, we're adults, and we're in a completely different space in life, mindset in life. So it's like these shows are growing up with us. Fiona and Cake is another great example of a property, Adventure Time, that grew up with the audience, and they adapted to what we have now. And even though it's airing on Cartoon Network, it will be going to HBO Max, so they can get away with a lot more nowadays than they could back then, especially someone like J.G. Quintel and the writers of Regular Show, the property itself. I would think that they have a lot of leeway, a lot more leeway now than they did back then, in terms of like studio getting involved in what can and cannot be said and stuff like that. And not to say that the original Regular Show didn't have adult jokes and innuendos and stuff that older people would appreciate more than kids, but I just felt like this episode was kind of blatant, some of the things they were shoving in our face. I did chuckle a few times at some of them. I'm sure if you watched the episode, you noticed some different bits and pieces. I did get a few laughs out of this episode. I will say though, the animation is something that a lot of people were worried about when it came to the promotion of Regular Show The Lost Tapes. people were looking at the animation and thinking, man, it's not going to be the same. It's not the same vibe. They missed that hand-drawn, original Cartoon Network style of animation and just art style in general. I will say that I didn't really notice it with this episode. Maybe in the beginning, slightly, I noticed like there's a difference because obviously, we live in a different time now, so things change. They adapt, or some people might even say it regresses. But I will say that I did not really notice if there was a lot of changes to the art style and animation. It didn't affect me personally. Now, if it affected you and you noticed it heavily, you let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll rewatch the episode and feel differently about it. But I'm glad to say that when I watched this episode, I didn't really get any like, oh man, like cringy moments at some of the animation in the episode. Like, I honestly thought I was, based off the promotions, all the trailers that were coming out for this show. But like I said, seeing Pops like in heaven, watching the tapes, and I guess that's the route they're going for, because this show will be a compilation of old regular show ideas and concepts for episodes that did not air with the original regular show. So they're just taking these stories and putting them out there now. And the way they incorporated that idea into the show is that Pops is basically in heaven watching these tapes, memories of his friends and the people at the park, so he can remember them and be closer to them, even though he's, dead and they're alive, which I thought was a clever idea. I thought that was really clever to have Pops just watching the stories unfold, because if you're going to do an idea like bringing a show back, but you're not really going to show new stuff or prequel stuff, because this show it's not a prequel and it's not a sequel. At least it doesn't feel that way for me. It feels more like it's just in the middle. Like the episodes we're going to get are episodes that kind of fit in between seasons 1 to whatever of regular show during the original run. So we'll just get sprinkled different episodes throughout the season. So I thought it was really clever that they have Pops watching the tapes, kind of like he's seeing it for the first time as well. So yeah, seeing Pops in heaven was kind of like a hit to the chest, especially if you watch the season finale or the series finale of regular show. Then you're like, oh man, this is cool. This is really cool to see that. And I thought it was a clever idea. But as for the actual episode where they get into the tape, after Pops teams up with this guy to find his basket of tapes, and this opening sequence building up to what the show is going to be about, I thought it was pretty cool. We got Mordecai and Rigby with the shenanigans and all the comedy that goes with it. It's kind of difficult to review a comedy show, especially something like regular show, where like it's either you enjoy the comedy of regular show, you enjoy that style of comedy and the setup for each episode, because basically what regular show is, and if you're a fan you know this, but I'll explain it anyway, you take Mordecai and Rigby, you put them in a fairly normal situation where they're working or they're on a date or they're just living their lives, and for some reason they get pushed into some crazy catastrophic shenanigans and off the wall ridiculousness that they should not be in, but for some reason they just can't catch a break. And it's one of those things where like they want to buy a sandwich, and instead of like going to the store and being able to buy a sandwich and going home, they have to jump off a cliff and ride a helicopter into a volcano to stop this volcano monster from erupting and destroying the entire world. Something ridiculous like that. These ideas for these regular show episodes, they got to come from a place that these writers like are like, I don't know, I can't even begin to think what their mindset is when they're writing some of these episodes. But this episode did feel heavily inspired by X-Files, if anybody has ever seen that show, with the whole aliens and the misunderstandings and stuff like that. I thought Benson was funny as heck in this episode. Benson's usually one of my favorite characters throughout regular show. That's why it kind of drives me crazy to see Mordecai and Rigby drive him crazy sometimes, because I do like relate to Benson sometimes. This episode, he's just trying to mac it to this girl. He's just trying to like eat these burgers at this luau theme event that they got going on, and he can't even do that without Mordecai and Rigby creating this whole ridiculous situation in order just to eat burgers. And at the end, they do get their burgers anyway. So Mordecai and Rigby always win at the end. So sorry for Benson, he loses the girl. Now that I'm thinking about it too, one thing I want to address as well, in terms of like the behind the scenes or the creative aspect of the Lost Tapes, is the voice acting. I really do think that if the animation didn't stand out to me as being like completely different from the original regular show run, the voice acting did. Some characters, you can tell that the voice actor is a bit older or has fallen out of voicing the character. In particular for me, Skips. Mark Hamill's performance as Skips is always great, and in this episode it wasn't bad, but I can tell that Mark Hamill's kind of like a bit older, or he's kind of like falling out of playing the character, because his performance as Skips was kind of like weird for me in this episode. It didn't sound exactly like how I am used to Skip sounding in a lot of parts. So did Rigby as well. Rigby also sounded a little bit off to me. And when I say off, I guess what I really mean is they just sound a bit older, which they are. Everybody ages, we all get older. So it's something that's like inevitable in terms of life. But in particular, when it comes to, voice performances and acting performances, the actor will age, the actor will change and stuff like that. So it's kind of something you got to get used to. It wasn't that jarring. It was noticeable. I would say it's noticeable for me. It didn't take me out of the experience of watching the episode, because it still is these actors giving these hilarious performances with beloved characters. I didn't hear Rigby talk and say that's not Rigby. I knew that was Rigby. I didn't hear Skips say what he had to say and speak in this episode, and I didn't think to myself like that's got to be somebody else doing Skips. I knew it was Mark Hamill, so it wasn't jarring, but like I said, it wasn't noticeable, at least for me. But yeah, that was like the main thing in terms of performances and the art style and stuff like that stood out to me, because the jokes, they're all there. The sense of humor, the scenarios, it all feels like regular show. It doesn't feel like a different show. I know a lot of people thought that this whole project was going to come across as like, more modern and different from what regular show used to be. But it really holds the essence of what regular show is. At least to me, I got the vibe of a regular show episode from this episode. Even with all the adult jokes and the references to like Hall and Oates, it just feels like to me it's regular show, but with more leeway. Like they have way more leeway to tell the jokes they want to tell and to add the references they want to add. So I'm excited to see what happens next. I mean, like I said, each day is going to be a new episode, at least for now. I'm not exactly sure of the scheduling release. I'll have to look up the scheduling release again for myself, and then next review, I'll let you guys know a little bit more about it. But if you've seen the episode, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And I really want to get this dialogue going. I'm excited to start making videos again. I'm excited to be talking about a new show, especially regular show. Fiona and Cake is no longer here for me to talk about, so it's nice to have like this alternative in terms of Cartoon Network shows to talk about. And then also later on this year, we're supposed to have the new Adventure Time show coming out. It's like we're going back in time to that golden age of Cartoon Network where, regular show and Adventure Time and Gumball, all these shows are returning. And I really do think it's a positive sign. It's a good thing, especially for fans like me, super fans like me that just enjoy these properties and these franchises. We want them to live forever. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how do you feel about regular show The Lost Tapes, and well, have an open dialogue. Thank you for watching.